Here's Marissa preparing for a little presentation, and then check that out. Tailor fit.
I cannot move my arms. Hey everyone, welcome back to Notier's Frontiers Diaries. Today we are on the East Coast. We had just been riding through the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we'd ended the night before in the very southern part of Virginia. Tim is relaxing.
I'm so tired.
We're in Fancy Gap, Virginia, and it is a cute cabin. Now, this was our first time ever traveling in Virginia, and we had quite a bit of the Blue Ridge Parkway that we wanted to do before we got to Overland Expo East in Arrington, Virginia. So this was an exciting few days for us.
And I was just happy that it seemed like the bike was going to make it, because it had been giving us some problems, and Arrington seemed like, you know, a moon of Jupiter at that point. But does Jupiter have moons? Moon of Saturn. Jupiter's got to have moons.
Jupiter has a lot of moons.
Scientific fact. You learn stuff here.
Prepping the bike to go to the Overland events out west. We wanted to leave tomorrow, just in case. My bike has been dying on me. I don't know if it's stalling out because of the short.
When we started off the summer, we thought, okay, we're going to hit up all 3 Overland Expos and it'll be great, even though the first 2 were out west in Colorado and then in Arizona.
And the thing is that they're all kind of tight-knit together. Usually they're spread across the year a little bit more, but for obvious reasons, this was the first year that public events were launching again. And I'm so glad that we've made the effort to go to the first 2, and I was glad that we were 2 days away from the third. All the stars were aligning.
It was so hard getting to those first 2. We had so many bike problems and breakdowns, and we had to be towed for each one for a portion, and that was just really
But we made it all the way across the states on our own, like adventurers.
In less than 10 days. And we'd seen some incredible things. And so this day we were just riding high, basically. We were really looking forward to doing some more of the Blue Ridge Parkway and then finally getting to Arrington, Virginia, where Overland Expo East was. So we wanted to have tea and coffee this morning outside on our little cabin porch and enjoy the view. The view is still pretty incredible. It's a bit different, but the chairs are a little wet. It's been a little rainy and misty this morning, but really beautiful. This is Lake Otter, something or other. It's so pretty with the fall leaves, different colors, and of course all the fog. It's amazing.
I remember waking up that morning on our brand new day to do some more of the Blue Ridge Parkway, and you know, we opened the door and the little peach orchard was just covered in mist, and it was...
I was slightly disappointed, I'm going to be honest, because I'd had this vision the evening before of us sitting on those two little chairs outside having our tea and coffee of this little cabin that we had rented. But it was so misty and wet out that the chairs were just soaked in water.
Yeah.
I suppose we could have put on our rain gear and still sat there. But it was beautiful. It was a very different way of seeing that peach orchard and the view from the day before. It had been quite sunny when we'd arrived.
This is true.
So we had tea and coffee inside, and here's Tim having coffee now. And we're going to get packed up and get on the road. Now, it stayed misty for quite a long time.
But I liked that. That was like a new appreciation. This is the first time we've ever been down the road, but I liked the introduction that we were given. Now, of course, we've seen plenty of pictures and brochures of it in fall where it's spectacular, but this was beautiful in its own right. Eye of the beholder, right?
That's right. And I just love the Blue Ridge Parkway for so many reasons. You can take it nice and slow. It's got all of these pull-off vistas that you can look at. But one of my favorite things about it is that they have these really cool historic buildings that you can visit right along the road.
It's so cool. And like whomever purchased this, you know, they had to buy up land and stuff, and it was just... We had passed an old cabin and, you know, out of the middle of nowhere the first day.
Yeah.
And then this day we rode by this water mill.
Yeah.
And I mean, immediately, like, pumped the brakes, turned around and pulled in because...
It was stunning. Is this for carding wool? Wow.
Carding is breaking up the clumps of it. It's getting rid of some of the, especially sitting under the hemlock tree, getting rid of some of the little needles that fall.
Oh. I mean, you have this huge water wheel, and they've not refurbished it, but what's the right word?
Well, they're used to, I mean, the way that water wheels work is that, you know, the original homesteader had channeled a bunch of water to funnel to make the wheel turn. Now it's artificial. I'm sure it's not a generator because all the water is not moving very quickly and the wheel's still chugging along. But
But they've done a really good job of restoring it back to its original glory as best as they could.
It was really, I hate the word like romantic, but you know, like I like the word romantic.
I love the word romantic.
But you know, it was really unique. It was cool. It's something that us from the Midwest, and as you spread out to the West, it gets rare. You know, just these old buildings that...
And they basically made it like a museum.
Yeah.
So there were little plaques that talked about each section of the buildings. This wasn't just like one guy in his mill, though it started off like that. But there were lots of different buildings there. There was a forge where they had been blacksmithing different tools.
And we've watched enough Forged in Fire to be interested.
We do like that show.
Yes.
I mean, I love all of those things. But one of my favorite parts was an area where they had an actual working loom. And they had people, I mean, this was all free, like on the side of the road. They had people there who were demonstrating how these things were done and able to answer questions about it. And just sitting there working on this loom. They had
the wool in front
wheel.
of us, and then they would dye it, and then a woman had a loom.
And she was weaving a cloth on the loom.
And you can buy all the different parts of the whole process, and you know, it was just like a living museum. It was just really cool.
I loved it. I loved it. What a cool job that is, you know? It is living history.
Yeah.
So you really got to feel like, oh, this is what this area used to be 100 years ago.
Definitely. That was definitely one of the cooler pit stops that we made. And we took 100 pictures. And there's this lake, obviously, where, you know, the water channeled down over the wheel. And just everything was really, really, really pretty.
It was so beautiful. Yeah. We were just enjoying ourselves to the fullest.
Yeah.
So we stayed the night in Lynchburg, which is not my
awesome
favorite named place. No, I mean, there's not much they can do about it now. But we passed some really cool place names. We started off the day in Fancy Gap. That's where that cabin was. I thought that was a cool name. And then wasn't there like
Davidstown?
Meadows of Dan.
Meadows of Dan. Yeah.
Meadows of Dan. It was like Meadows of who? Meadows of John?
No.
Meadows of Michael? No, Meadows of Dan. I just thought that was so cool. Yeah, and you can kind of get a little bit of the sense of the history of the area just by the names themselves. There's a lot of names that have come from Europe. There's a lot of names that might sound German, or they are taken from English towns. And then there's Meadows of Dan. Yeah. From Lynchburg the next day, it was a very short ride to Arrington, Virginia, where Overland Expo East was taking place. And we enjoy having short rides sometimes. Yeah, it really only took like less than an hour to get to Arrington. When we arrived, the expo was in this huge field complex that had actually just been used for hay recently. It was cool. There were some barn structures connected to it. It was just a really unique venue as far as the ones that we had seen so far.
Yeah.
And this was our first time going to Overland Expo East. So we were really excited to see the changes from the other expos. They had always been out west. And to see what the East Coast would bring. And just travel with that into the unknown and have adventures along the way.
Sprinter vans.
At first we thought, would it be worth it to, you know, we'd been hauling it for 10 days.
Well, then, like, you know, the bike was giving us trouble, but
Yeah.
when we got there, and we got there a day early, and we had met a friend, Russ, who we had met at the previous expo.
And the expo before that. He'd been to all of them so far. We saw him there.
Yeah, he's from Florida, but he saved us a little spot.
Yeah, in the campground.
And he bought one of those outdoor little, like, tiny, like, gazebo tent things that he set up his tent underneath.
The other thing I was really worried about was the weather, because it had been so misty and rainy, and for me that's fine when we're on the bike, we're in our rain gear, we're going through it, but when you're setting up camp and you're giving presentations and you're walking around, and I just heard horror stories of sometimes it gets really, really muddy and vehicles get stuck, and I was just hoping that the weather would turn out really well. But we arrived and it was quite cloudy. It wasn't raining quite yet, but the forecast was for rain.
And, you know, we love Russ for multiple reasons, but one, it was very nice to know somebody with one of those little, those tent outside structures, just in case the worst of the worst happened, we can put our chairs underneath there and
that's right.
Just, you know, hang out in there all day.
But I have to say that all of my worries pretty much faded very quickly, and looking back on it, I realized that I was really worried for nothing. Everything went well. It did rain a little bit over the weekend.
Yeah.
And there were a couple parts that were a little bit muddy, but that didn't detract from anything.
But as small as it was compared to the other ones, like it was like condensed.
Yes.
Just, you know,
awesomeness, condensed awesomeness.
Really cool. You know, and where they had the author tent was like right on the main thoroughfare to the main stages, and so
it felt like a really tight-knit community, and they all do. But when you have the Expo West in Flagstaff is so big, you know, you don't run into the same people every day.
Yeah.
But at Expo East, it was like, hey, good morning, you know, and. It just had this really, really friendly community vibe to it that I loved. Yeah. And everyone was, because the weather was kind of gloomy and everything, I just feel that the turnout of the crowd, they were just so gung-ho about it. And everyone was so excited to be getting back out and camping again and getting out in nature. And they were loving it. The rain didn't matter at all. People
we had
were
a
just
lot of
loving
really
to be
good
there.
conversations with a lot of really good people, and you know, multiple people coming to our classes and then coming to chat with us at the tent, and you know, it was nice. It was really, you know, dare I say, romantic again. You know,
when we first arrived, we set up our camp and we set up the book booth and everything, and we found the books that you had shipped out there, which was great. And then right away, we were ushered over to make these how-to videos.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd signed up for this. This was something that the expo was putting on, but we didn't really know what it was going to entail exactly. But I'm so thankful that we did this.
I think they come out this year. So the Overland is doing a series of videos of how-to. So, and they have, you know, we were part of motorcycle, you know, 2-up riding was our little skit.
And the film crew. Thank you, everybody.
Way to go, guys.
No, you're awesome.
We had 3 videos total. Each one is, they project it to be between 15 to 20 minutes long. And I was really thankful to do this because a lot of people ask us questions, kind of like the how-to of how we do all this. Yeah. And so these were really, really great for us to do. The first one was about surviving each other. As a couple. I love that. And that's one of the roundtables that we often do at the expo as well, which is just super great. It's always different. People always have questions about how do you survive as a couple while being so close together throughout the day.
And just a little hint, it's not always bliss and wonder, you know.
It's not always bliss and wonder, but it does definitely strengthen our relationship. Yeah. And you'll have to see the video and see what we say about it. And then the second video was about gear for different riding situations and weather. So, you know, we talk about hail and snow and hopefully you're not riding in too much snow, but rain, a lot of rain and wind and altitude, things like that. And then the final video was my personal favorite, just because we had a lot of really fun with it. And that was how we ride 2-up together.
And like, you know, we had done another video way back at the first expo. That one, they like asked questions behind the camera and we answered, and it was this call and response. This one, there was like, all right, now talk about your thing. 3, 2, 1, hut. You know?
It had one of those clapboards.
Yeah, they just said no tears. It was cool.
Yeah, they'd be like, no tears, frontiers.
Take one.
Take one, you know? And then they're like, 3, 2.
You know.
And then I'd freeze and freak out.
Like, yeah, we didn't prepare. Sorry. But the guy behind the camera was amazing at what he did. He'd give us cues and say, why don't you say rah, 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 you know, and so.
They had like a bounce guy. I mean, this felt like a light bounce and a negative. And I was learning all of this for the first time.
We were given 2 free shirts from Overland Expo, which were awesome, but like the smallest size they had was medium.
Way too big for
So they had to like paper clip Marissa's all together. Here's Marissa preparing for a little presentation, and then check that out. Tailor fit.
I cannot move my arms.
And then she couldn't like lift her hands or move around. And the whole video, and like in most of our live videos that we take, all you can hear is of Marissa's boots.
Because of my boots, they're like, okay, so don't move because your boots are too squeaky. I'm like, yes, I know my boots are really squeaky. They said, okay, so just take your stance, and then can you put your arm over like this and rest it like that. Now, chin, you know, 3/4 to the left. Okay, up a little bit. All right, now act natural. And 3, 2, you know.
It was fun. And then for the last video, they said, I think it'd be cool if we popped the trunk on the little minivan that they had. Yeah. And we followed them around, and the sun was setting.
So they could film us as we were riding.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It was really, really cool. And, you know, you have to ride staggered, and to get a good wide frame shot, you have to be as close to the vehicle as possible. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hanging out to the left of it, and we go around this corner, and stupid me, you know, but like I almost crashed into Eva.
Yeah.
Who is one of the...
If you don't know who Eva is, you have to check her out immediately. Yeah. Eva Rupert. She does a lot of stuff with the Overland Expo. She was on Naked and Afraid, and is amazing.
She is
incredible survivalist.
Her energy is just outstanding. She is one of the perfect fits as a
she's a big motorcycle person. Yeah. Her and Sterling, who has a motorcycle travel channel.
And he does a lot of...
his photography and videography.
It's crazy. And he does a lot of back road discovery route stuff. Yes. And so definitely check some of that out as well.
We will link all these things below. It's just such a great community, and you get to meet so many people over at the Overland Expos, and we were having a blast. You sold out of books on Saturday, so it goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. And we sold out. So thank you to everybody. Yes, thank you. You know, so people were doing the whole mail. We had a mailing list for the first time in our life, and that was pretty cool. But I know it was. It blew my mind. We did well. I was afraid no one would show up because of the weather forecast. But people were so excited to be there, and you could just feel the energy and vibe of the place. Mm-hmm. It was very happy and very just welcoming, and we had a blast. So overall, an absolutely amazing experience, a great ride there, a great stay, success across the board. And, So I hope you liked this video. In the next one, we will be heading off towards the Northeast BDR. Some of my favorite riding. Wow. I mean, but first we have to go through some pretty interesting traffic. So I hope to be seeing you next time. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below. Ding, ding. And I will see you next time. Peace, everybody. Bye. Stay safe.